Hi, this is Ed Downs at Aberco Incorporated, manufacturer of Piemaster turnover machines and dough rollers. This is the sixth in a series of tutorials designed to explain the operations, maintenance, and safety of the Piemaster Model SA21. Up to now, we've covered the various systems on the machine, the components on the machine, a few of the settings, the setup, things you need to know, some safety things like the knife that we continue to emphasize, the safety of the proper operation of the knife. And now we're going to get into a little more procedural stuff, how to get the machine up and running to make pies. Like any other machine, before you do anything on it, whether it be a routine setup or maintenance, you always want the air off the machine and you want the electrical off the machine. Unplugged and unplugged, both of them. And again, always be aware of the knife anytime you're working around this machine, where it's at. So when we remove the hopper in this video, we will expose the knife. So we'll talk about that and the safety precautions. We are going to remove the transmission, the auger, and the hopper in this video, and then we'll move on to some adjustments in the turnover machine after that, and then reinstalling the hopper. So as you can see from previous videos, we have the housing on the transmission now with the lid on it. You'll see these all over the machine, these little button head 1032 screws. A quick note about these, and there is a safety notice or a operational notice in your owner's manual. Anytime you put stainless steel into aluminum, which the manifold is aluminum that these are screwing into, you always want to put some lubricant on them. We use a food grade anti-seize. If you've ever had stainless steel bind up as it screws into aluminum, you might as well weld it. It's never going to come out. All these screws should thread in easily. If you ever feel any kind of resistance or it binding up, stop what you're doing. Don't let it heat up, screwing it in and friction, and then it'll be a permanent deal. So we put anti-seize on every screw, whether it's going into aluminum or it's going into stainless steel into stainless. We put anti-seize on all of them because that is a little problem that you don't want to encounter. So power's off the machine, air's off the machine. In order to remove the transmission, first thing we want to do is disconnect the air up here. That's just a standard quick disconnect. And then to disconnect the auger shaft, I know it's kind of hard to see. There's a little thumb type screw there. Unscrew that, and then you lift up this collar and then tighten the screw back down, just snug it, and then the auger pops out, and it's free inside there now. And then on the other side here, you come around, there's a thumb screw here, and then over here there's a thumb screw. And now the transmission is free from the machine. There's nothing holding it on. There's those locating pins on each side right there that are basically keeping it in place now so it can be lifted off. So from this point, the transmission is free from the bolts that hold it onto the hopper, and the auger shaft is loose and the air is disconnected. So at this point, you lift the hopper straight off. This is where ideally you want two people, so the person on the ladder can hand it down to someone below rather than trying to carry it down the ladder. It is heavy, probably weighs 30 pounds or so, and it's just awkward. Whatever your safety practices are in your business, I'm okay carrying it down the ladder by myself. I'm only up 2 steps. But ideally, it would be nice to have a second person you could hand it to. So we just lift it off, and it's free, and you can bring it down. So we've got the transmission off. We can then remove the auger, pull that straight out. We talked about the adjustment. There's an adjustment to the auger right here that we'll do on the bench and demonstrate that. You can just set that wherever it needs to go. And then we'll remove the hopper. There is a locating pin that keeps the auger or the hopper into this bar that it mounts on, and it's pretty straightforward. Unscrew this T-handle, and I said earlier, this thing's really stable, and so you open that collar, and the hopper is free to fall out, but it doesn't. I don't recommend not keeping a hand on it, but it rests fairly stable on that. Be aware the knife is there. When you take this hopper off, the first thing that happens, the knife guard goes on. I do not have any knife guards here. They're over at the machine shop, and I don't want to take the time to go get one, so I'm just using this piece of foam to simulate the knife guard. The knife guard is made out of this Delrin, like the splash guard is, and it's basically a rectangle with a cutout that fits the knife on it. So you want the guard in position. The second person is great for that too. You take the hopper off, the second person can put the guard on the knife either way. So at this point, the hopper just comes straight up like that. It's heavy. You can put it wherever it needs to go. Set it down. And then the next thing you do is put the guard over the knife. And that's that. That's the removal of the transmission, the auger, and the hopper. Now that the hopper is removed, you can see, remove this knurled nut. And then the orifice comes off thusly. This knurled nut is mated with this hopper and these threads, and they usually don't interchange well. Those are some serious threads. This is another case when you're putting that on, there should be no resistance. It should turn very easily, very smoothly. If you get any resistance, stop what you're doing. It should spin on. The other thing I encounter a lot is way over tightening it. Once you have the orifice in there, just snug it down. For some reason, there's a desire to want to put wrenches on it and stuff, and you're asking for trouble. Don't do that. There's your locating pin. That locating pin goes into the collar right there when you put the hopper back on, which we'll do in just a second.